Welcome to the Godly Life video channel, and today here's a really important, super important, massively important, did I say it was important, video that I think that, this is probably one of the biggest misconceptions in all of the, not just Christianity, but all over the world. Everybody has their opinion on this, but I read this comes from a book that I read. I'm not going to get into all that because people have their phobias, foibles, and opinions about things, people, places, and whatever. So I just want to give you the message, and hopefully you'll get as much out of it as I did. I was shocked and extraordinarily joyful and happy once I understood the message. So here we go. Who and what is God? By the way, this is on the Godly Life website. If you want to read it, I will link to it in the description below, so you can just link to it and read it at your leisure, or you can download it. You just save it as a PDF. Anyway, who and what is God? Let's start with this. When Jesus was talking with a Samaritan woman at the well, he said to her, "God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." And of course, it's found in John 4:24. And in Webster's dictionary, it describes what the spirit is. It says, in the abstract, life or consciousness viewed as an independent type of existence, one manifestation of divine nature, the Holy Spirit. God, then, is not, as many of us have been taught to believe, a big, gray-bearded old man sitting on his throne, residing somewhere in a beautiful region in the sky called heaven, where all good people go when they die, where they do nothing but look upon him clothed in indescribable glory. Now, when I was a little kid in Catholic school, I'm not dissing the Catholics, but when I was in Catholic school, that is pretty much what they told us. That we'll sit and stare at the face of God, basically, is what we were going to be doing in heaven. Anyway, he is most certainly not, as the street preachers would have you believe, a stern, angry judge only awaiting the opportunity somewhere to punish bad people who have failed to live a perfect life here on earth. That's a big one, right? You don't hear that as much as the other, but that's most certainly the flip side of the coin. And it only has two sides because it's both error. So let's get one thing clear here. God is spirit, we know that, or the creative energy that is the cause of all visible things, right? What does Genesis 1 say? God created. In the beginning, God created. God created the creative energy that is the cause of all visible things. Without him, there's nothing. Nothing is seen that is made without him. Oh my, how could that be true, right? God as spirit is the invisible life and intelligence underlying all physical things. All. So nothing is made without him. Can you agree on that? Maybe, maybe not. There could be no body or visible part of anything unless there were first spirit as the creative cause. I'll read that again. There could be no body or visible part to anything unless they were first spirit as a creative cause. God is not a being or a person having life, intelligence, love, or power. God is. He doesn't have it. He is that invisible, intangible, but very real something we call life. He doesn't have it. He is it. Big, big, big difference. God is perfect love and infinite power. God is the totality of these, the totality of all good, whether manifested or unexpressed. There is only one God in the universe. One. But at the same time, one source of all the different forms of life and intelligence that we can see, whether they be men, animals, trees, rocks, or whatever. He is the creative cause of those things. God is spirit, and we cannot see spirit with these fleshly eyes. But when we clothe ourselves with the spiritual body that Paul talks about, then spirit is visible or manifest, and we can recognize it. You do not see the living, thinking me, the person standing here, sitting in this chair. When you look at my body, you see only the form of which I am manifesting, right? The other thing is God is love. 1 John 4:8, we know that. We cannot see love nor grasp any comprehension of what love is, except as love is clothed with a form. All the love in the universe is God, right? How many songs and poems and whatever trying to describe love? Oh, you can't know it until you've been in love, and blah, 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 blah. Love between husband and wife, between parents and children, is just the least little bit of God as pushed forth through the visible form into manifestation. A mother's love, so infinitely tender, so unfailingly, is God's love, only manifested in a greater degree by the mother. God is wisdom and intelligence. All the wisdom and intelligence that we see in the universe is God. You see the Fibonacci numbers, you see perfection, you see the triangle, you know the two right angles make a triangle, etc. All laws of God. The universe is God. Wisdom projected through a visible form. Now, this is super important. To educate comes from the word educare, which means to lead forth. It never means to force into from the outside, which is what I've been saying in every single video I've created over the last couple of months. People, repentance, all those videos, they try constantly to do outside in and not inside out. But always means to draw out from within, something that is already existing there. It means to bring forth, that is, to educate. God, His infinite wisdom, lies within every human being, 1 Corinthians 3:16, only waiting to be led forth into manifestation. That, my friends, is true education. Before we have sought knowledge and help from, not before, meaning prior, we have sought knowledge and help from outside sources, a pastor, a teacher, a guru, a book, a course. No. Not knowing that the sources of all knowledge, the very spirit of truth, is lying latent within each and every one of us, waiting to be called on to teach us the truth about all things. Most marvelous of teachers and everywhere present without money or price. I don't got to buy a book. I don't have to spend any money. God is power. Not simply God has power. God is power. In other words, all the power there is to do anything is God. Is this sinking in? God, the source of our existence every moment, is not simply omnipotent or all-powerful. He is omnipotent, all-power. He is not only omniscient, all-knowing, He is omniscient, all-knowledge. He is not only omnipresent, but more omnipresence. Not omnipresent, but omnipresence. God is not a being having qualities, but He is the good itself. See, like I said before, God makes man in His image, man makes God in His image. And you can't do that. Everything you think of that is good, when in absolute perfection, goes to make up the invisible being we call God. That's why Jesus said, "Why call me good? There's nothing good. No one good but God." God then is the substance or the real thing standing under every visible form of life, love, intelligence, or power. Repeat. God then is the substance or the real thing standing under or behind, however you want to say it, every visible life, love, intelligence, or power. Each rock, tree, animal, every visible thing is a manifestation of the one Spirit God, differing only in the degree of manifestation. And each of the numberless modes of manifestation or individualities, however insignificant, contains the whole, right? One drop of water taken from the ocean is just as perfect ocean water as the whole ocean, no? The constituent elements of the water are exactly the same. They are combined in precisely the same ratio or perfect relation to each other, right? Only one's a drop of water and the other is a whole ocean of water. So whether we consider one drop, a pailful, a barrelful, or the entire ocean out of which the lesser qualities are taken, each is complete in itself. They differ only in quality or degree. Each contains the whole, and yet no one would make the mistake of supposing that the statement that each drop is the entire ocean. You follow that? So a drop of ocean is not the entire ocean. It's just a piece of the ocean. So we say that each individual manifestation of God contains the whole, not for a moment, meaning that each individual is God in his entirety. So when you're listening to me say this stuff, don't be thinking, oh my goodness, John is saying we're God. Oh my Lord. Help me with patience. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we have God within us. We have a piece, a portion, a drop, whatever you want to call it, a mustard seed of God within us. So to speak that each is God come forth in a different quantity or degree. Man is the last and highest manifestation of divine energy, right? It was the final creation. It was the last thing that God created, the fullest and most complete expression of God to man. He said he made man in his own image. Therefore, man is given dominion over all other manifestations. Am I not right? Genesis, I'm not right. That is the truth. Genesis 1:26-28. So God is not only creative cause of every visible form of intelligence and life at its commencement, but each moment throughout its existence. He lives within every creative thing as of the life, ever-renewing, recreating, upbuilding cause of it. Therefore, here's the big ta-da. And this is where all you religionists out there, you people who love your religion, and I'm not downing you, I'm hoping you understand this. Therefore, God is never, and never can be, for a moment, separated from his creation. How could I separate myself from myself, right? Don't believe it? You think what I'm saying is just a bunch of New Age mumbo jumbo? Then why, my friends, did Jesus say, how can even a sparrow fall to the ground without his knowledge? And you are of more value than many sparrows, right? God is, man exists. Man stands forth out of God. Man is a threefold being made up of spirit, and some will say soul, but it's AKA mind, right? You know, if you remember the old Christmas, old King Cole was a jolly old soul. Doesn't mean old King Cole was floating around invisible. A soul is just a good chap, a good personality. That's what a soul is. A soul is your mind, your personality, your external personality, right? And body, of course, your physical body. So you're made up of spirit, soul, and body, or spirit, mind, and body, however you want to say it. Spirit, our immanent real being, is the absolute part of us, the I that has never changed. Through our thoughts and our circumstances, though our thoughts and circumstances may have changed hundreds and hundreds of times, spirit is the part of us standing forth of God into visibility. It is the Father in us. He breathed into Adam what? The breath of life. That's the Spirit of God. At this central part of his or her being, every person can say, I and the Father are one, and speak absolute truth. Mortal mind, now you're, my rituals. It's not true. Not true. The rituals are to get you to a higher level, but not to How are you walking and talking and breathing without God? Can you explain that to me? Well, the heathen. It doesn't work that way, my friends. Stop thinking that way. Go away from the us versus them, because that is living in hate. Mortal mind, that which Paul calls the mind of flesh, Romans 8:6, is the consciousness of error. That's your mind, your fleshy mind. The great whole, as of yet unmanifested good, or God, from whom we are projections or offspring, in whom we live, move, and have our being, Acts 17:28, continually is to me the Father, our Father. And you are all brethren. We're all brothers and sisters. It is the humanity of brothers and sisters, because all are manifestations of the one and same Spirit. Jesus, recognizing this, said, "Call no man your father on earth, for you have one Father who is in heaven," Matthew 23:9. As soon as we recognize our true relationship to all men, we can at once slip out of our narrow mindedness, our personal loves, our personal hates, our me, my, mine, into the universal love that takes in all the world joyfully. Remember, when Christ taught us to pray the Lord's Prayer, he said, "Our Father, give us this day our," he doesn't say, "Give me my daily bread." Is that the way you pray? Us means everybody, doesn't it? Our means everybody, doesn't it? Or is it just the people that you like? And now you've become a hypocrite like the Pharisees. As soon as we recognize our true relationship to all men, we at once slip out. Okay, I said that. Exclaiming, "Who is my mother and who are my brothers?" Stretching out his hand, Jesus said to his disciples, "Here are my brothers and my mother and my brothers." Many have thought of God as a personal being, right? You see blessed all over the place. I have a personal relationship. You ever see the books in the store, your personal relationship? What's God want for my life? The elevated life, whatever you want to call it. The statement that God is principle chills them in terror. They cry out, "They have taken away my Lord. I don't know where they have laid him." Right? Because now you've just ruined my personal idol of what God is. Broader and more learned minds are always cramped by the thought of God as a person, for personality limits to place and time. God is the name we give to that unchangeable, inexorable principle at the source of all existence. To the individual consciousness, God takes on a personality. But as the creative underlying cause of all things, he is principle and impersonal, really. As expressed in each individual, he becomes personal to that one, a personal, loving, all-forgiving Father, Mother. All that we ever need or desire is the infinite Father principle, the great reservoir of unexpressed good. There is no limit to the source of our being, nor to his willingness to manifest more of himself through us than we are, than we have to be doing his will. Sadly, this is why many of us, though, because we don't understand this, I didn't understand it for the longest time, why we have turned our hearts and efforts toward the external for fulfillment of our desires and for satisfaction. We have been grievously disappointed, as Ecclesiastes 12:8, said, all is vanity. The hunger of everyone for satisfaction is only the cry of the homesick child, for it is Father, Mother, God. It is only the Spirit's desire in us to come forth into consciousness as more and more perfection, right? Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect, until we shall have become fully consciousness of our oneness with all perfection, fully conscious of it. Right now, many people are totally oblivious to it. Man never has been and never can be satisfied with anything less. So that's why you're constantly jumping from one religion to another, one book to another, one course to another, one YouTuber to another, whatever. We all have direct access to the Father in us, the central eye of our being, to the great whole of life, love, wisdom, power, which is God. What we now want to know is how to receive more from the fountainhead and how to make more and more of God flow through us, which is but another name for all good manifest into our daily life. There is only one source of being. This source is the living fountain of all good, be it life, love, wisdom, power, the giver of all good gifts. This source and you are connected every moment of your existence. You have power to draw on this source for all good. You are, or ever will be capable of desiring. I hope this video gave you a great blessing, and I hope it gave you much to think about. And once again, you could see the article on thegodlylife.org under the questions area, and it says, who and what is God? Thank you. Be blessed. Take care.